February 3rd, 2024. Well, Groundhog's Day has passed, and the Puxatawny Phil has predicted spring is coming, so it will be warm for a while. So anyhow, but what issue I want to talk to tonight is that uh, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who was the head of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, a bold charter, you must admit, all domains. But at any rate, or otherwise known as AARO, has written an article, opinion piece in Scientific American, which which is titled "What I Learned as the U.S. Government's UFO Hunter," and he's basically continuing his line that, hey, there's nothing to see here. We've checked it all out, and it's all nothing that would prove the existence of any actual phenomenon. But mainly, he seems, as he gets deeper in the article, he's focused pretty heavily, obviously, on the whole group of people associated with Bigelow and I guess going forward, the OSOP program and then ATIP. Well, he doesn't mention OSOP by name, but and that the individuals associated with this apparently, according to him, have some kind of a bogus story, which goes along the lines of what we've probably heard, that these objects were eventually put out to contractors to study, and then it sounds exactly like the OSOP story that I've read already. And so the people in question, I guess your normal Hal Puthoff, Kit Green, and other people of that sort. And of course, Louis Elizondo. I don't know who all's involved, and it seems like it's also the people to the Stars Academy group that originally, put together before half of them left and all that. And so he's sort of saying these guys just have a bunch of rumors and that they're basically that they're biased. They want to believe this stuff. Maybe I'm characterizing a little bit. I will attach the article in the description below, the link to it, and so that you can read yourself. But essentially, he's essentially saying that these people just don't really know what they're talking about, and so I did my best, and and a report's going to come out shortly. Apparently, it is about due, and we'll come up with what they found. Now, what's also interesting is that, of course, the people he's attacking, as I understand it here, are people that did not actually come forward to his group because they didn't trust him. Mainly, I think, because of who his supervisors were. The Department of the group in the Department of Defense that had been sort of hostile to them previously was the group that had charge of him. And of course, he's resigned and seems to be happy to be out of the crossfire, so to speak. So I think that's, kind of an interesting article there. I would have some comments about it, though. And of course, by the way, if you like these videos, please, give me a like. It helps with the algorithm if you're subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, interested, please do so. And of course, I have been informed that I need to spice it up somehow. I've been thinking about what that might be and what I can actually do practically. But anyhow, getting on to the subject here, I think that it's interesting that, of course, he didn't mention any of the people that allegedly have come forward directly to the congressional committees, the Senate and House committees. And then the other issue gets into for instance, Senator Rubio has stated, as near as I can recall in some interviews, that other people came forward other than David Grush and I guess probably the people I've just mentioned, that other people have come forward independent of them that also provided similar information. And supposedly these were people that had credibility as having serious government jobs and security clearances. So, if you're talking about people who are cleared for the most, top secret SCI level stuff, usually they don't go forward on their own volition without and lie to congressional committees. I mean, it'd be different if their bosses told them to do it, but I don't think they do it on their own, maybe. But who knows? At any rate, he seems to think everything's second and third hand information. However, some of these people, according to Senator Rubio, were firsthand, as I understand it, and also Grush claims that some of them, that the people he's talking to were firsthand, so he's only secondhand. And he also seems to be hinting lately, I think, that maybe he might actually be a little bit more firsthand, but he doesn't want to say that because he'd be violating his clearance requirements. I mean, if you're on an undisclosed program, you're not supposed to disclose the fact that you're on said undisclosed program, right? So I don't know. At any rate, so I see a bit of hostility there. I guess I kind of feel like that Kirkpatrick maybe was caught between a management structure that want him to come up with one answer and a bunch of people that are coming forward that are putting out their own opinion. And perhaps he's not actually cleared to know the real truth. And if he was cleared, he's not allowed to say it either. Or maybe it's not even there. That's always possible, that we've all been led down a false path here. But there's a lot of evidence, I think, that goes in another direction. But it seems like when he's talking about throwing out specifics like 12 objects, he's definitely referring to Grush's testimony, right? And it's just sort of, this is obviously developing. On the other hand, there's also Grush's testimony and the investigation that supposedly was conducted by the Inspector General of the intelligence community. So that provides kind of another thing. But then again, all this material involves classification. It involves, material not to be disclosed because of a pending investigation, privacy issues because of the identities of the people coming forward, because they're promised a degree of anonymity if they do come forward with a whistleblower complaint. So you have all these conflicting secrecies, which leave us sitting there going, what? I mean, perhaps, Kirkpatrick isn't allowed to see this information either that went to the IG, or the information that went to Congress, for instance. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like he wants to get into those specific issues. And he does reference some thing about some studies that were carried out that seem to be fringe and so forth. I don't know if he's talking about the so-called DIRDs or whatever that were in the part of the OSOF program. I would agree that some of this stuff, I would say, from the point of view of the established scientific community, is a little edgy. Of course, interesting to me, I'm going to here speak for all these scientific community people, these PhDs at illustrious universities, as if but I can pretty much guess what their attitude would be. I mean, I watch enough of their own YouTube videos and stuff to have, besides I know enough about the scientific theory to understand just how far out there the whole UAP subject is from a pure theoretical physics point of view. And that's, so I do understand that very much. And so the only problem is if it's really happening, though, then the theory's got to have a problem, right? If it isn't happening, then why are so many people so confused? I mean, but anyhow, I thought it's kind of interesting. He's leaving and going to his new job at Oak Ridge. He's definitely throwing a few grenades at the other side. And apparently some UFO advocate apparently showed up on his property also, which is, don't do that, okay? Whoever you are, don't do that. But some of these people are really nuts. In fact, I think that's one of the problem with the whole UAP UFO subject is, I always like to go back to Winston Churchill's comments about his ultra secret code breaking stuff during World War II, where he said that the truth had to be protected by a bodyguard of lies. Well, the government doesn't really have to make up the lies. There's plenty of cuckoos out there that are willing to do it freelance for them without being paid. Plus, they may throw a little of their own out occasionally as well. But anyway, I thought that's an interesting development. We'll just have to see where that goes. I'm sure that people like on the UFO side, like Coldheart and maybe Chris Mellon will probably have a little rejoinder to this whole thing, perhaps. And there is apparently it's also mention this in closing here that David Grush apparently made some presentation in New York in which he seemed to go beyond what he'd said previously in a few details, and I found that on Richard Dolan's blog. So that's under so that's kind of an interesting little development. That's kind of a members only site, but it is interesting that it seemed to me he made some comments that went beyond that, although I don't know whether this was really cleared through DOPS or not. But so anyhow, and so that's about that. So as always, of course, I'll be posting this edition on YouTube. I'll also be posting this on Rumble, and the addresses of my social media accounts are in the description below. As far as my updates between videos, I most oftenly post on the X, but I do post these videos on all the others as well, and sometimes post other things there too, if like they were particularly appealing to those accounts. So until next time.